Hey guys, welcome back to the Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. Today's game up at the tip top is called Nug Nugs by Curious Wildebeest. It is for 30 minutes, 2+ players, and for ages 5 and up. Pretty low game there for people to be able to play. In the game Nug Nugs, you're going to be basically counting your chicken nuggets, and it's going to come with a deck of cards as well as a bunch of tokens. And the idea of the game is you're going to be making a clock full of chicken nuggets. After you made your little clock from 1 all the way to 12, right? Then you're going to be drawing a card from the deck, replacing one of those cards, and going throughout the circle of cards in order, back and forth between players, saying 1, 2, 3, all the way to 12. Unless there's a card that has been switched, then you're going to say a different card that has been switched. However, if you forget about it, somebody can call you out on that and give you some butt nugget points. And if you get too many butt nugget points, you can get kicked out of the round. The person with the least amount of butt nugget points at the end of different variants, or in the case of the main game, if everybody else has been wiped out of the game, there's only one person left, they're the winner. Let me go ahead and show you the game. Okay, so here we have Nug Nugs. It's going to be like a box of the game, as well as the entire set of cards. You're going to get a bunch of random special cards that do different things, that include rules and variants and whatnot, as well as all the basic cards ranging from 12 all the way up to 1, as well as you're going to be getting a bunch of points. These are called butt nugget points. You can get 5 points, as well as you got 1 points over here. And that is what it comes with the game. Let me tell you how it's worked. Okay, so like I was explaining before, you're making a clock out of these cards. And as you just saw, it goes from 12 to 6, like the basic clock does, right? And they're going to be all flipped face down, all these cards. On your turn, whoever looks most like a nugget or whatever you want to decide who goes first. Nobody starts with any of these butt nugget points, but you're going to get them. You're going to be drawing a card on that first turn. You're going to look at it and you're going to read it. Put it up. Give out 1 butt nugget point and either replace a face down card or add this card to the table. So most of these cards, when you draw them, you're going to do whatever it says, which is usually give out a butt nugget point. You take this 1 point and give it to somebody else. And then you're going to put this card down on one of the face down cards on the table, or include it with the card, depending on what the card says. This one's a put it up card, so you can include it. So if I wanted to put it with this face down 1 card, I could do that. They can both go together. And whenever we go along the clock here, we're going to then say, put it up, and maybe 11 nuggets at the same, you're going to put it up, and then you're going to say 11 nuggets, right? So after everybody puts a card down, after one person puts a card down, then you're going to go around the table. Starting with, one player's going to pick a nugget, and then he says left or right, and you're going to go that way. So if I picked 12, for instance, and I said, okay, go to the right. The next player is going to have to be, okay, 1 nugget, and he's going to put it up. And then next player will be 2 nuggets, and the next player will say 3 and 4, and all the way along until you get back to 12, or 11, technically. Once you do that, then the next player is going to draw. Now, let's say, for instance, as you're going around the table, somebody forgot to put it up at that point in time. Well, then you can call that person on it. If you call them on it and they're wrong, they get a butt nugget. And they're going to have to start over again. The play starts over again without drawing a card. However, if it does go through and you've successfully guessed all the cards and nobody's called you out, then the person who did was the one who called the last nugget out will draw a card and the round will continue. As the game progresses, you're going to gain butt nugget points, and if you ever hit that 10 or 20 mark, depending on if you're playing the spicy version, you're out. Last person alive is the winner. Let me show you how to play the game. Alright, so the first player is going to start. That nugget face is going to start. Whoever looks like a nugget, right? Draws a card. Golden Nugget. This says, become the Golden Nugget and wipe all of your butt nugget points. So if you had any of these points to start the game off with, you would remove them. That's a really good thing to do. However, unfortunately, the first turn of the game, not so beneficial. Then you're going to take this card and replace one of these cards. And like I was showing you before, it's a clock. This is the 12, this is the 6, and then you've got the 10 over here, or sorry, the 9 and the 3 over here. And you can replace any of these cards you want with the Golden Nugget. So he will replace, let's say, the 12 with the Golden Nugget. And this card gets shuffled back into the deck. And you would do that every time you're going to replace a card. Shuffle back into the deck. Then that player is going to choose a nugget, and we're going to go around clockwise, okay? So maybe you choose this nugget, and you say, right, okay. So the next player is going to say, okay, this is the Golden Nugget. Next player is then going to say this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way across the table, okay? Now remember, at any point in time, any of the players can call out other players for saying the wrong nugget. For instance, if it started over here, and the 1, 2, 3, third player guesses this card and says it's the 12 nugget, somebody can say, no, you're wrong, that's the Golden Nugget. And if they are wrong, they're going to gain a butt nugget point. However, if you call the person out and it is actually the card they said it was, you're going to get the point instead. If, however, though, if everybody goes around correctly and no one has any mistakes, the next player that is the player who said the last card. So if it's for the 4-player game, it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And that last player, the third player, is going to draw a card, and it's going to be their turn. They're going to do this. Otherwise, it would just repeat the same way. So basically, if somebody got called out and they got a point, that player would just start again without drawing a card. So we got the Grumpy Nugget here. It's not your day. Receive 3 butt nugget points. So you drew the card, so you're going to get those 3 nugget points. Then you go ahead and replace a new card. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And go around the table again, choose one left or right, and you're going to try and say them all. If you say a wrong nugget, same thing happens. If you go around the board correctly, you go ahead and guess another one. 12 nuggets. Sometimes you're going to get these cards again. So like I had done before, I shuffled this into the deck, which was normally right here. This is actually going to net you the ability to give a nugget to somebody, as well as putting it down. You could put this down right there. That would be real confusing, right? Shuffle these all up, and once again go around the board. Now, also to mention, there are different types of nuggets. You've got the peace sign, the clap, and the rock on, and whenever you put one of these guys on, if you drew this from the deck, for instance, player drew this from the deck, they could add this card to one of these nuggets. So I could put this right here. And as we're going around the table, if somebody does not only do the rock on and say the clap, or say 12, then you're going to screw up. And somebody can call you on that. So you have to do both actions when that happens, and they could be all the way around the board. And if, for instance, you would have to get a nugget for a butt nugget point for screwing up there. And the game continues like that, going around until players either all goof up and get over 10 or 20 nuggets, depending on the variant you're playing, and there's one person left over, and that person will be the winner of Nug Nugs. Okay, so there are a couple extra cards in the deck I want to show you before we begin the review. First of all, you're going to see these cards mainly in the deck. These are the basic nugget cards that are usually going to dish out butt nugget points to your enemies. This one here is a sweaty nugget, and you choose 2 sweaty nuggets to receive 3 butt nuggets apiece. And then you're going to put that one down. And then, like I showed you before as well, they got the blue one, which has you do clapping and peace signs and whatnot. And you can add these to the nuggets to make players do additional things while trying to go around the clock, remembering what they need to do. And if they don't do these things, you can call them out on it. But there are 3 additional ones. You've got green cards over here, the switch cards. Give out one of your butt nugget points to a player and choose 2 face-down cards to switch, in which case, on the board, you can take 2 cards and switch them and change the order of them. Pretty interesting, right? Also, you can get penalty cards. These ones can be pretty nasty. When you draw one of these cards, it says, disgusting, you found a toenail in your nugget. Keep this card on your table. It's worth 5 butt nugget points. So that's going to give you 5 points to your pool, and you don't want to have these cards. But you can just end up drawing them, unfortunately. And then you got stuff like the Szechuan card. Whenever you get these sauce cards, you can they do different things, but normally it's going to be to hand out large amounts of butt nugget points. Squirt your Szechuan sauce in the eye of an opponent. Choose a player to keep this card. It's worth 5 butt nugget points. Ha! Have 5 points. In that case, you would draw another card and do what it says. This was a point left card, so when you're going around to point left, and you just go ahead and put it on top of another card. And that is the basic idea of how you play Nug Nug games by, I hope I'm not saying this incorrectly, but Curious Wildebeest. Alright, so what do I think of the game Nug Nugs, right? Well, the game's a pretty simple premise. You're making a clock out of these chicken nuggets, and you're drawing nuggets on your turn. You're going to be replacing nuggets on the board, going around the board trying to guess which cards are still the same, or which cards have been changed, and remembering what those nuggets are called. And like you have seen, there's a bunch of different weird nuggets on here. You've got like Struck Nugget, Mullet Nugget, you got penalty cards like a feather and a toenail, things that can be found in your chicken nuggets you probably don't want to find. Pug Nuggets, Nudie Nugget, a beak in your chicken nugget. And then of course there's like a Trumpet Nugget, and you got, what's this, dab? You gotta do something. You gotta do some crazy moves and clapping and all that kind of stuff. So it has a wide variety of things you're going to be doing. But the main aspect is that memory thing, where you're going around the table, and if you mess up, you have to start again. And you can lose a lot of, you can gain a lot of butt nugget points from doing so. And you really don't want to have butt nugget points. And so that memory aspect of the game, which I find really, really unique and very, very fun. I really like this game, especially with more players. People are giving out nugget points left and right. People are trying to remember very difficultly how this board goes. And the longer the game lasts, the more difficult it is to remember where things were placed. And for me, my memory is pretty bad. So when it comes to going around the board, and I'm like, was that a butt nugget, or was that a pug nugget, or a duck nugget? and did I put that there? Or oh, wait, was that a switched one? And I'm having all these like, okay. And then if I go through it, maybe I don't know, but I know it's really, one of them's close, and everybody else kind of doesn't know either because they can't remember. It's always that case where one guy is super good and memorizes everything, and he's always calling you out. But if you don't have that one guy in the group, like I don't, most people I play with, we can't remember stuff very well, so it's like, Pug Nugget, and I'll go on to the next one, and no one will catch me. Haha! I feel really good about that when that happens. Nevertheless, you're going around the board trying to guess them all the best you can, and drawing these extra cards is really fun as well. When it gets down to that late aspect of the game, it gets to the point where you're not drawing cards as much, but trying to get around that board correctly, and that can be really unnerving, but fun, really fun, and really crazy. When I first saw this game, when it first came, I was like, chicken nuggets, right? That's a really weird theme, and it is. It's a bizarre theme, but it's fun, and I enjoy saying the words. It reminds me of that like taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza game. I just remember the title still because it's just something very, very unique and weird. Butt nugget points, and giving out those butt nugget points, shooting out Szechuan sauce and toenails and all these other crazy things. It's a fun game. It's a short game. It's not a lot of strategy, other than your memory. It's cards you draw sometimes are going to make you lose all your points or gain a bunch of points or just a lot of different randomized things, but the strategy comes in with that memory aspect, and there's a bunch of catch-up mechanics for players who are not so good at memory, so that kind of works. If you kind of want to throb in your noggin a little bit, get a little bit more intense with remembering things, this is definitely a little cool game like that. I remember playing a game from a convention that my wife works for. She works at it's like a research, it's a non-profit for children that do math stuff, and they had a game that was kind of like this, but this one's definitely different, and I don't know, when I saw that game, I thought that was a really cool idea, and then when I saw this one, I'm like, oh, started reading the rules. This is what this game's like? That's pretty cool for a little card game. So, like I said, big strategy guy, somebody who's really interested in hard gaming, not for you. Party game involves memory, maybe even playing with your grandparents. My grandma was playing this, she's just like, I like this game, I feel like I'm learning a little bit, and I'm like, well, she's doing better than me, so. Nevertheless, Nug Nugs, card game, it's good, I like it. I'm going to keep it in my collection. Alright guys, thanks for watching another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter card game review. If you like this video, go and try the rest of the videos on our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and comment. It all helps, as well as checking our website, unfilteredgamer.com. Got some blog posts, giveaways, our large Kickstarter list where you can see all the new Kickstarter games currently out right now, as well as checking out our affiliated sites. You got everythingboardgames.com, the Giveaway Geek, and my friendly neighborhood reviewer as well, Ferdinand the Cardboard Stacker. Check out all these great guys. Got tons of giveaways going on as well. We work together in a lot of different aspects. We really appreciate you guys coming on and watching our videos, and as always, once again, I look forward to seeing you next time.